Are you seeking a better way to accelerate your sales, to scale your business, to live a life with no limits? Accelerate Sales Podcast features global experts who have cracked the code to recurring revenues with proven sales systems and get you on the fast track to scaling. Now let's accelerate your sales with today's episode.
Hello to the Accelerate Sales Solo podcast, episode number 397. Today's topic is convert more sales with dedicated sales or landing pages, depends which group you're from. You will learn, one, what is wrong with most B2B websites, in my humble opinion. Two, why have dedicated landing or sales pages, and three, what should be on a dedicated landing page. If it's your first time, welcome, and if you love what you hear, please subscribe on the app that you prefer to listen to. If you're a regular, thanks for your support. Appreciate every review. Please check out past shows on your favorite platform. Just search Accelerate Sales, and don't forget our amazing interview shows. And before we start, I'd like to talk about our free Slack community for cloud consultants. It's a great, safe place for getting your questions answered to help you scale. We have cloud consultants across multiple platforms, including Salesforce, HubSpot, ClickUp, Zoho, Google, Microsoft, just to name a few. We're all doing a similar thing, so why not learn from each other? If you want to learn to scale your business faster, just go to cloudconsultantscollective.com. So that's cloudconsultantscollective.com. So I am working with a Salesforce consultant at the moment, and he wants to close at least one new client a month. Now, he's been getting referrals, which are great, but they're lumpy, not predictable, and also not of always great quality, right? And he just can't depend on it. And he wants to put on more team members, but if he doesn't have dependable sales, I think you're getting the message, right? So we're going to focus on LinkedIn outreach. That's what's been working incredibly successfully for us. But before we do that, we have to identify his ideal client profile, create a compelling offer, and then put it on a website where someone can go and purchase. And, that's all in line with our process around running LinkedIn campaigns. And as I read through his website, I realized that it just, was out of date, right? Obviously, we changed or refined, I should say, his ICP, but also there was some other things that I'll talk about in a moment that just weren't right. And he had spent a significant amount of money with a really good branding agency to develop it. And I knew that if I went to him and said, okay, to make this successful and get some money in the door, we're going to change your website completely, he'd be either, he'd react. Well, the best case scenario, he'd slow walk it. And I think the worst case scenario is he'd just think, I'm another expert trying to empty his pockets before money came in the door. And he was very nervous about that because probably like you, he's been burnt in the past. I know I have. So what I thought is, look, I'll give you a list of changes that I would make in the future, but let's not start there, right? Let's, implement quick and test. So that sort of leads me to, well, what's wrong with a lot of the B2B websites? And once again, this is in my opinion. I've spent lots and lots of money getting my website updated, learning about it. So, it's just from what I've learned from experts plus practical. And I think the first one is too wordy. And I looked at his site and it was just like so much text. If someone can't get through your site in 2 minutes, I think you're doing a disservice. Now, and that's what will lead me in the future to, in this podcast around dedicated sales pages. But I do believe that, a video might mean they'll spend a little bit more time, but ultimately you just want to get, the basics on your homepage to begin with. The other one is too many offers, right? Confused buyers never buy. So there's so many offers, and this person in particular, the offers were outdated, but they were confusing, and like even he admitted, he didn't quite understand them. Number 3 is a lack of social proof, right? And not just any social proof, because normally if you're not focused on a specific ICP, ideal client profile, you tend to have all different examples, and people really want to come there and say, oh, okay, I really need to know someone like me did this, right? And what was the result they got? Number 4 is that they were focusing on multiple ICPs, right? So they didn't have social proof, but also they just had multiple people they were focusing on at the one time. And then the 5th is it was all about them and not about you, right? And how often we do that we start off with the client in mind, potential client of mine, but then we sort of lose focus and we make it all about us, right? So they're the 5 key things that I see too many B2B websites that they're missing. And I know, like, even if you look at my website, it's not perfect. I'm always trying to update it, but they're the sort of key things. But before I continue on the dedicated pages, I'd like to talk to you about Hyperrise, and it's only got one E, right? Are you struggling to get LinkedIn message replies? Look, I think most of us do, right? What we've done is implemented Hyperrise, which allows you to send GIFs into your message. So, for example, after they connect, we send a thank you message. We don't, send a message of, hey, thanks for connecting. Now I'm going to send you a spammy sales message. We thank them, right? Because they've taken a big step to let you in. And what we can do is get their name, their company name, and their profile all taken from their LinkedIn profile into a really cool image, which has got a Connect 4. So if you remember the old game Connect 4, it basically has that. It's quite cool, and I get some really good feedback from it, and most importantly, it helps me to get more replies. So why don't you check out Hyperrise yourself at hyperrise.io. So we made the choice of not updating the full website now and instead doing dedicated sales pages and landing pages, like I said. And it was really because it was fast to implement, it was easy to update, and it's easy to send during the LinkedIn outreach process, right? You don't want to send people to a homepage is not specific to the campaign you're running, right? It's just, it doesn't work. So what should you have on a dedicated landing or sales page? So the context is, once again, I said it's easy to do, it's fast to implement, it's low cost, right? So you want to be, quick to market. Now, if you want, and the context I'm giving you here is that I'm not saying that it's got to be the world's best landing page or sales page, right? I think so often we chase perfection rather than progress, and we look at some people that have got amazing businesses and think it's got to be like theirs, and that's not the case. And if you do want to see a great example, I was looking at Stu McLaren. I'll put his link in the show notes, but it was fantastic. But Stu's been in business for a long time. He spent lots of money on it, right? We don't have to go to that extreme. And the other one I want to give a shout out to is Matthew Hunt from automationwolf.com. So he's the one that's really helped me to get this concept in my head, because I was the same as the client that I'm now mentoring. And also, he really said, this is what you should have in a MVP, minimal viable product, for a dedicated page. And Matt has, run agencies and been in digital marketing space for over 20 years. So, he really knows what he's doing. A great guy. And if you want to have your LinkedIn content, a month's worth of content done in a week, Matt's the guy. Just check him out at automationwolf.com. He's not a sponsor. He's just someone that's added huge value to me. So what's on this landing page, I hear you say? Okay, number one is a clear value prop on the left-hand side of the page, right? So, make it very, very clear on what it is. Now, there's so many great examples of that. You can go to some of my sites at paulligginsmentoring.com, where you go to the services and you'll see what I've done there. The second is have a 5 to 10 minute video, right? And really dial up. So what I loved is, the person I'm working with now, when they watched one of my videos, he said, it was like you're inside my head. You knew everything that I was thinking, right? And if you're going to do that to a complete web page, it's very hard. But this was very specific to the problems they had. And funnily enough, it was around getting more sales. And then number 3 is some social proof, and you just can't have enough of it, right? So just get as much social proof and make it specific to the people that you're working or looking to work for. And number 4 is common asked questions, right? And that really should mitigate a lot of the objections when you get in. And I think that's it, right? So just quick summary again. Number 1 is clear value prop. 2 is a 5 to 10 minute video. 3 is social proof, and 4 is common asked questions. And to be honest, the rest will be covered in your pre-call questions. So, I have some really good questions to even know that I should go ahead with someone. So and I've got an application for my one-on-one service. So that's going to do some heavy lifting. And then you've got the sales call, right? And remember, progress, not perfection. So What are the 3 actions you're going to do from today? 1 is refine your ICP, your ideal client profile in your office, right? So, it's always time to do that. 2nd is create dedicated pages. Just start them in Google Drive and then you can get your team to build them out. And 3rd is just go and implement it, right? So you can get all the links in the show notes at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast, number 397, or app you're listening to now. Please follow me on LinkedIn to get actionable posts outside of just these podcasts. If you know someone interested in accelerating their sales, please share this with them. They'll think you're a rock star, and don't be one of those friends that sort of holds it in, right? Share. And if you're a cloud consultant or know one, go to cloudconsultantscollective.com. Please take action to accelerate your sales.
I'm fired up after today's episode. What about you? But hey, before you go, learning is just one piece of the puzzle. Now it's time to put today's strategy into action. Head over now to today's show page at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast and share how you'll put it into action. Be sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe, rate, and review the show. Tell me what your favorite episode is. And don't wait 1 minute more to gain access to your pulse check at paulhigginsmentoring.com. This could be the difference between struggling to get more leads and making this next quarter your best one yet.